Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nayaswami Padma, and I'm here today on Thursday to bring you Yogananda's Whispers from Eternity prayer demands at 12 o'clock, as we like to do every day sequentially. So today we're on number 170. Teach me to drown in thy light and live. In parenthesis underneath that, it says, inspired by a Hindu song. I come to thee with the song of my smiles. Whatever treasures have lain in the secrecy of my soul, I bring eagerly to thee. I bring thee all the honey from the hive of my heart. All that was ever mine is now thine alone. The sunlight of this world, shining upon the eager hopes and brief, fickle fulfillments, burned me repeatedly with dissatisfaction. Now I will quench my thirst forever in thy radiant waters. The taper of my aspiration toward happiness will burst aflame with thy coming into the conflagration of bliss. In thy vast enchanting sea of light, I will swim joyfully forever. Teach me to drown in thee and live, rather than live in the mirage paradise of earthliness and die. Wow, they get deeper and deeper. I didn't think it was possible as we go in through the book. I find this one fascinating from two perspectives. One is that Yogananda, in various aspects of the body of his teachings, talks about the need for secrecy in the sense of that which describes our spiritual experiences that we each have, whether it's in meditation or whether it's day-to-day actual experiences of the divine, to keep those close to our heart. The more we talk about those things, the more we dissipate them into the ether, as it were. It's a little bit like lovers not talking about their intimacy with others, that the precious love that is between them is unique to them and therefore not going to have the same meaning to others, and somehow bringing it into words lessens the experience. So there's that on the one hand. On the other hand, he also talks about in the body of his teachings that we need to be transparent. We want to be transparent. God watches, He knows everything. The divine, He, she, Divine Mother, the Father, the beloved friend, however you like to think of God in whatever manner. The point is that God already knows what we're thinking before we even know it. So that is true on the one hand, but being transparent, being willing to talk with God about everything and anything in our hearts, in our experience, the good things, the bad things, especially the bad things. Those are very difficult for us, for many of us, to talk about with others or with God. And so practicing that openness, that transparency. I remember Swami Kriyananda, Ananda's founder and Yogananda's direct disciple, was such a guiding light to me in that way. He was so incredibly transparent. He was willing to talk about all of his mistakes, all of his experiences, concerns. I'm not talking about his precious spiritual experiences. I'm talking about his experiences that most of us sort of turn our back and hide from one another, even from ourselves. Many of us have a difficult time facing our own inadequacies, our own challenges, our own mistakes. And so this teaching, this practice of transparency is really good to bring out. I know, as a little example for myself, on Sunday when we do the Festival of Light and there is the arati part to the pictures of the divine ones on the altar, the gurus on the altar. When I come to Sri Yukteswar, it's always with the words in the chant at that point in time, all desires born of delusion, here we lay, Lord, at thy feet. And for a long time, for many decades, I would think, well, maybe not quite all the desires, maybe most of the desires. Can I really, in all transparency, say all desires? And for a long time, I couldn't even utter those words. And then eventually, with time, maybe with age, the more I'm getting older, the more I have a different sort of bird's eye view about life. I'm not sure what it is, but now I delight in saying all desires born of delusion. Here I lay, Lord, at thy feet, all desires. And so we go through different even phases in life, is my point, where we can, where we recognize the joy of transparency and where we begin to practice that transparency more and more. And ultimately, it takes us to this prayer demand, which is allowing God into all the corners of our hearts, whether they are alight with the flame of devotion or whether they're still sort of cowering a little bit in darkness, allowing God into every cell, every crevice, every nook and cranny of our heart, and so that we can become transparent and live fully and completely in the light. Joy to you, and we'll see you again tomorrow with Yogananda's Whispers from Eternity. Blessings. Bye-bye now.